Monster Hunter Wilds is a good game, so I'm sure by now the hype has died down as Wilds released more than a month ago at the time of me scripting this video, and I have played quite a lot of it in that time frame. I love this game, which is weird, because all of the other Monster Hunter games I had played up until this point, I wasn't a really big fan of. So what makes this game different? What makes this release of Monster Hunter so much better to me than all the other ones I've given a try? And why do I think you should give it a try, regardless of if you've played Monster Hunter before or not? Well, let's get into it. First things first, I'm pretty new to Monster Hunter as a franchise. The first Monster Hunter I ever played was Monster Hunter Rise, followed by World. And I'm not gonna lie, aside from playing it with my friends, I didn't really like these games. The movement, clunky. The combat system, also clunky. The HUD and graphics felt very outdated. There's a ton more to name that I didn't like, but those are my main complaints. But one more specific issue I have to bring up in World is that you have to run everywhere, and I cannot understate how horrible that is from a game design standpoint. You give your players a big, huge map to explore, but they have to do it in the most slow, inconvenient way possible. How the actual... He ran away. I hit him once in the new spot that he ran away to fall asleep in, and then he ran away again. Like, I just hate this fucking game. Really, aside from playing with my two friends, I had no reason to like these games, and for a while, I stopped playing them, regardless of if my friends wanted me to play. But once Monster Hunter Wilds came out, I was asked once more to try out a new Monster Hunter game, and this changed my entire perspective on the series. This isn't going to be an in-depth review of the game's story because, funnily enough, it's what I like the least about the game. And if people want to experience that, they should go experience it for themselves. I'm only going to be talking about the changes that Capcom decided to make this game so much better in comparison to all the other Monster Hunter games. For starters, the combat, although similar to the previous game in its clunky feeling, has been mostly remedied with the introduction of something called Focus Mode, which allows you to literally aim where you want your weapon to strike. This one change alone already makes this game so much better. In past games, you'd have to deal with swinging the blade manually and basically just praying that it hits the monster. Because if you were mid-swing and the monster moved or even slightly moved you due to its own movement, it could just completely throw off an attack you were trying to do. Something else that helps hunts go significantly faster, as opposed to the drag they were in the older games, is the ability to open wounds on monsters. To explain it in the most basic way possible, hitting the same spot over and over again will make that area a weak spot that you can hit for more damage than usual. It will eventually go away, but it does help in a lot of scenarios where a lot of monsters' traditional weak spots seem to be out of reach, like their head or their tail. Now, there was sort of a way to do this in World called the Clutch Claw, but it completely trivialized using any type of weapon without it. It made combat super boring because coming to Iceborne, you pretty much had to use it to successfully get anywhere. And in my opinion, made the combat significantly more boring. So this is like that, but done right. Secondly, as far as I know, no weapon in this game is bad. In past games, there are weapons that were always significantly better than others. Granted, if you wanted to, you can make anything work, but this game is different. I've tried out quite a few of the different weapons, from longsword to switch axe, greatsword, and I've realized that they're all good enough to be used without doing suboptimal damage, and without the need to worry about min-maxing your statistics. This is obviously a great change because you shouldn't be punished for wanting to use a specific weapon, and although there might still be some weapons that are generally considered better than others, it is nowhere near as unbalanced as World Arise. And for those who can't decide between two weapons, don't worry, because your equipment loadout can now hold two different weapons, which means longsword plus switch axe, charge blade plus twin blades, insect glaive plus greatsword. These are all possible combinations. Or you can just run two different versions of the same weapon in the same loadout, one holding a different purpose. And speaking of equipment loadouts, unlocking layered armor, Monster Hunter's version of transmog, in this game is so much simpler. As long as you have it crafted, you can wear it, but with the stipulation that you have to complete the main storyline quest first, up to chapter 3. Which is a bit upsetting, but you likely can't craft or wear any of the cool armor that you'd like to use for the Hunter fashion until after you play that part of the game anyways. Thirdly, this game is open world, which is something that I didn't think would make such a big change, but being able to openly explore your environment was very needed in Monster Hunter. You can literally just walk in and out of settlement areas, all while monsters roam around marked on your map for you to go hunt whenever you want. You don't have to go to your handler, click a quest, or go to a part of the hub area to select an area you want to go to, and if that area happens to be an area inhabited by monsters that you want to explore, you have to start an expedition or an investigation. Those days are gone, and it makes me so happy. The open world all feels interconnected, and there are different types of weather that cause specific type of monsters to spawn. I feel as though naming them would spoil the game a bit, but let's just say each of the main areas has a monster known as an apex predator. which is a significant step up in difficulty in comparison to all the other monsters you'll find there. And finally, to top it all off, you have a mount called a secret, I don't know, that has specific routes it can take you to make travel quicker, as well as an auto travel button that will just have it run to where you have marked. I'm turning my mic on just for this part. My hands are off of the controller. I am literally just letting it walk forward for me right now. I don't know why he's walking into a wall. Oh, sorry. I actually didn't have the auto tracking on. I am an idiot. But as you can see, it's working. I swear. A mount was something that existed in Rise, but as you heard me complain about earlier, was not in Monster Hunter World, a game that I can say for sure needed a mount. And even in Rise, it didn't have all the specific features that it does in this game, like hearing your second weapon in your loadout, as well as being able to just scoop you up in the middle of a fight to completely save your life. So all in all, a major improvement and change. Now all of these changes, as I've said, are big improvements, and are what make the game so much greater than previous titles to me. But I still do have my issues. For one, the multiplayer, although better than World, is still significantly worse than Monster Hunter Rise. First, you have to set up a link party for you and your friends to have the ability to join each other's quests, but that doesn't mean you guys are in the same environment or instance. For that, you have to set up an environment link, which will allow you to see your friends around the world, but it's extremely buggy and just randomly kicks people in and out and back into their own single-player worlds, just at random. It's not a huge deal because as long as I get out with my friends, that's fine by me, but the idea that we are in the year 2025 in a game that is supposed to be online and co-op oriented, and the creators still haven't figured out how to properly do a multiplayer, it's just very odd to me. Especially because they hit a home run with Rise's multiplayer. In that game, you just create a lobby, and you don't even need to invite your friends. They can just join, and then you're just in a hub area together, where you can join quests together, or even on your own. But it doesn't separate you out from your friends. So if you want to mess around in the lobby and just socialize with each other, while being able to see your friends, it's very much an option. And while that's my only real complaint about the game, a lot of people have complained about some other issues. One of these issues being that Monster Hunter Wilds is too easy. And while yes, I do agree that the base game is easy, the base game for every other Monster Hunter release was as well. Since playing Wilds, I have gone back and played through the other two aforementioned Monster Hunters, just to see if the claims are justified. And surprise, surprise, the only things I struggled with in those games were the lack of changes I mentioned above. I don't think I carded on any of the fights through the base game, of any of these games. What I think the issue is really here is that the DLC for these games, which I also have gone back and played through, are both a significant step up in difficulty from the base games. So people complaining about Wilds' difficulty are doing so while comparing Wilds to the entirety of World and Rise, games where their difficulty stems from DLC which Wilds doesn't have, and likely won't have for a year or more. But this lack of difficulty is a good thing, because combined with the quality of life changes Wilds has made, it becomes obvious that this game was made with one goal in mind, which was to expand the Monster Hunter franchise to a wider player base. Think about it like this. I'm a big CS player, and one of my favorite streamers to watch is Onett. He played through Elden Ring, not super recently, but kinda recently, FromSoft's latest Souls-like, and after doing so, was enticed to play through Dark Souls 3 as well, and I'm sure he's planning on playing through all the other Souls-like games at some point. Now, what's one thing Elden Ring and Monster Hunter Wilds have in common? They are both considered to be a step down in difficulty compared to the rest of their franchise. However, Elden Ring managed to change the perspective of not just Onett, but other streamers and gamers across the world, and gave them the encouragement to go back and play these games that they hadn't tried out before. It changed their perspective. I believe the same thing is happening with Monster Hunter Wilds. This game, just by being so good to me, made me want more Monster Hunter. And I didn't care what form that took. I went back and played these other Monster Hunter games that I never finished. I even started a new character and replayed parts of the game that I already knew on World. And despite all of the flaws of Rise and World, I gained a love for those games. Suddenly I didn't care about the lack of a mount, because I realized there was a sort of beauty to running around this world, a world crafted for the return of Monster Hunter. Suddenly, I didn't mind the missing focus mode, because through playing a lot of Wilds, I naturally got better at the combat system and not using focus mode from time to time. Wilds single-handedly changed my perspective on two games I thought to be unplayable, to me actively seeking out an opportunity to play them. My perspective on a franchise was changed entirely by one game coming out and me enjoying it. Even if it was considered easier, I enjoyed it so much, and now I enjoy every Monster Hunter I've played since, and I can't wait to play more. Thank you for watching, and much love, as always.